Today we're going to talk about why Dave Ramsey no longer worked for me. I tried it. I gave it some, it just didn't work for me. But give me one moment. I'll be right back.
But you know I'm a stranger, a willing and a.
Okay. This is the reason why, the three reasons I'm going to give. For me personally, listen, I think Dave Ramsey's a wonderful guy, but I think when it comes down to it, you have to approach things differently. Number one reason for me is it's too broad. One size cannot fit all. Let's say if you're a single mom, certainly your financial situation is going to be different from a married couple that are bringing in maybe $100,000, $200,000 a year. Let's say you're a widow. Absolutely, your situation is going to be totally and completely different. I'm just going to get a little more personal here. I'm a mother. I'm a Gen X parent. I have a Gen Y and two Gen Z children. The same things that work for me is not going to work for them. Back when I used to be a kid, when I would go outside and I would get thirsty, of course, I run to the hose and drink out of the hose. Nowadays, people are so afraid of getting any kind of germs, they'll drink out of a purified water bottle. Hey, different strokes, different folks. Let's say you have a single mom. Okay, I can't compare her situation and tell her, do it this way. This has to be done this way. This is going to work for you. You guys, it didn't work for me. Let's say you experience a job loss. And by the way, my family, we experienced a job loss. So that plan of Dave Ramsey's, it just didn't serve us anymore. So I couldn't do that buckle down effect and that, this rigid stuff. It just didn't work. Going back to, we're all uniquely made individuals. We're all unique and we're different. Just like your fingerprint, they're all different. So should be a financial plan. It should all be different. It should be based upon each unique situation. So I think when you said we're going to take it and paint it with a broad brush, you all do it this way, it's just not going to work. So that is one reason why I thought I can't do this plan, because it doesn't work. It's too broad. Every situation is different. And the number two reason is that it's like a diet. For me, it was, the rigidness of it. Just get rid of all your credit cards. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I've learned something, you guys. If you feel like you're on a diet, you're going to do that diet. You're going to do great for a short, temporary amount of time. After that, you're going to get tired. I'm not taking away from people that have done the Dave Ramsey diet type financial situation. And they've been successful with it. But I think if you look at the broader picture, you have people that when they feel like they have a constant rigidness to them, they're going to rebel against it. And I know for me, I rebelled against it. I, tearing up all my credit cards, it just didn't work. In this world, sad to say, plastic rules the world. And I think you have to be financially responsible to say, if I do have a credit card, these are the terms that I'm not going to use it. So I would say the number two reason is that it was just too rigid. It's almost like a kid that rebels against his parent. I found myself rebelling against what Dave was saying about cut up those credit cards. Don't use those credit cards. Well, Dave, I have to use a credit card in order to book sometimes a hotel. I have to use a credit card to book a rental car. I need it. Now, you may say debit card, but if your debit card only has maybe 50 or 60 bucks on it, they typically want to hold $100 or $200 as a retainer just to make sure you're not going to, follow on your agreement. So I just think when it came down to it, it was just too stringent and too rigid. We are in the 21st century, and I feel like those are 20th century ways. And they always say, how can you win people, influence people using 21st century methods? Using 19th century methods in 21st century times. You can't. You have to evolve with the times. Almost like you see these big time companies, unless they evolve, they're going to become absolute. Nobody's going to even know who they were. So I feel like you have to constantly evolve. And I think that Dave's plan is wonderful. It's about getting yourself financially, fiscally responsible and shaping up your finances. But I think when it comes down to it, Dave, I'm sorry, it's just too stringent. We work in a microwave, popcorn, I want it now generation. And when you tell people that you need to go ahead and linger, you need to go ahead and push yourself, make this happen, I think it's just too long term. People are so short term. They like quick fixes. Now, I'm not saying they can be irresponsible, but I'm saying that when you make it so stringent and so difficult, there has to be some avenues where they can accomplish those goals at a faster pace. Number three reason, it doesn't really focus on improving your credit enough for me. I think where I'm learning that when people come, they're trying to say, listen, my credit is not that great. I need to go ahead and I need to, revolve credit in a responsible way so I can actually increase my credit score. I can purchase a house. I can purchase, investment properties. With this situation here, you're cutting everything up. You're no more credit cards. You go lean, but it's kind of like, well, what is the end game in this? Sometimes it takes credit to make your credit get better. So I think it can teach a little bit more about financial literacy, how to take a credit card, how to use that credit card responsibly. I think that's what we want, right? You want people that are very, very balanced. You want people that are very fiscally responsible, and you want them to be financial literate so they can say, hey, listen, I do have a credit card, but these are areas I'm going to use it with and areas I'm not going to use it with. And because when it comes to your credit, we know that this world, sad to say, it revolves around debt. So you have to actually revolve your credit. If you're taking a credit card and you're using it responsibly, you're revolving your credit. Thereby, you're increasing your credit score. So for me, I'm just going to say, I've adopted the philosophy of velocity banking. I think velocity banking is a 21st century method. I think that those old ways of doing things were 19th century. Like I said, some folks could do it, but for me, I couldn't do it anymore. It just didn't work for me. So for instance, I'll tell you, when I discovered velocity banking, I told my husband, I said, listen, this thing right here works. I get about the debt snowball, taking the smallest, debt, paying it off and moving your way on up. I think that's great and all. But I'm like, this right here, I can throw all this debt into a line of credit and begin to pay that line of credit off. But at the same time, I've eliminated all of my debt. Now I have a goal to work and pay down my line of credit. I just like that idea better. To me, it was more like an avalanche, but I'm putting everything together and I'm paying it off in rapid pace. Now, granted, you have to be a homeowner, but also there's a thing called a personal line of credit, or you might be sitting on some savings. You can use that. There's certainly one way to skin a cat. So I just think for those three reasons, number one, Dave is great. But number one reason is, sorry, Dave, but when it comes down to it, it's painted with a broad brush. We're all different people with different situations. I can't see a widow having the same plan as what a married couple would have, or a single male or female raising up kids having to do the exact same thing. No, everybody has a very different financial situation. Number two, it's just too stringent. It's like people that go on those diet crazes for the first 2 months. Hey, the January through March, they're pushing and they're pushing it and they're doing it, getting it done. But as time goes by, they start craving like the sugar and the sweets and all those things that they deprived themselves from. They wanted it back and they rebelled. So most times they're larger than what they were when they began. So for that, Dave, I think it's just too stringent. It's too stringent. It's archaic. People don't operate long-term anymore. We gotta be able to speed up the pace and show them that, hey, this is working with quick results. Number three reason is that I don't see a path really to financial literacy. I think that the person gets beat up and told, you've done this wrong, you've done that wrong. What about the corrective actions? What about saying that, hey, let's focus on building your credit up. Let's say that we're going to introduce a credit card, but we're going to introduce the credit card responsibly. This is how you use a credit card. This is why you don't use a credit card. This is where you use a debit card. This is where you don't use a debit card. And I think that when people are taught, hey, I have a credit card, but I plan to use it responsibly. Most folks, when you go to a stove and you get burnt, you don't want to get burnt again. And I think when you teach them, hey, this is the reason why you don't want to get burnt. This is the reason why you want to keep your credit, at top A1, because this is long-term. You may want to get involved and do investment properties. You may just want to be able to go out and purchase a house, or you may want to purchase a house with a better interest rate. It's going to start with having better credit score. So I say, teach them how to revolve that credit, thereby increasing their credit scores. And, a lot of times when you reach that goal, you are so happy and satisfied that you typically don't go back to get burnt again. So just giving you what I thought, just giving you some suggestions. So on my next video, I'm going to talk about how velocity banking can change the game, how you can pay off debt rapidly, whether you are single, married, widowed, or you're just a new millennial, Gen Z, Gen X, navigate new territory. Velocity banking is a game changer. And velocity banking, just got to say it, it's a 21st century method. People are doing it. We're microwave people. We want it fast. We want it now. This is the way to get there. And at the same time, you are improving your credit score. You have a actionable game plan that you're going to follow. With this, you guys, velocity banking, I typically would jump on and jump off. With this, I'm sticking to it because I'm seeing the results and I've got myself disciplined. I've actually helped other people. I've told them about the importance of a credit score and how you want to keep that score going up and not going down, not dipping in one year and then going up in another year, how to be consistent, how to remain steadfast and unmovable. So, hey, Dave, I like you. I think you're a wonderful guy. You're a Christian guy. You're helping people. But I think we got to pull it in to catch these, Gen Xers, the Gen Zs, the Ys, and now the new alphas coming up. We have to maybe make it more palatable for them so they'll jump on board. But nonetheless, I digress. I'm your dividend friend. I'm here until you win. So as I said before, follow me for the next video. I think you're going to find something that you can jump on to and you can actually see results pretty fast. But it's going to take the work. I always tell you, you have to be intentional. You have to want to change and you have to be responsible. So I'm a dividend friend. I'm here until you win. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.